All right. So, hey folks, I am usually not this color. I'm in fact not orange or red or hot pink or whatever's going on here, but the white balance on this camera is nuts. And if I turn this monitor on, which is going to make me probably transparent, uh, I'm also not this color or transparent. But bear with me. So I'm doing a short video or a live video right now because I've been exploring application insights lately, and it's freaking amazing. And it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I am digging into my live site and finding all kinds of interesting information, and I am overwhelmed with the amount of information. And I thought about, well, I could go and do a video and explain it, and like make it formal and have edits and all that kind of crap that the YouTube people do. Or I could just broadcast live and just show you raw why I think this is blowing my mind and why it's just out of control. Yeah, there you go. You're not alone at night coding. Cool. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. Let's try this out, and we'll see if we can. I'll show you what's going on. All right, cool. So here's the context, right? Context is here's my this is my podcast site. Okay, so this is a real site. It's live. It gets a lot of traffic, and it's my shows, and it's got 600 shows, and they're all coming out of a database at a company called Simplecast. And it's got a number of different pages, and it's got filtering and stuff, and then each individual show has a player for the podcast, and you can go off and clip bits of the podcast. You've got both descriptions for a show and then long descriptions with show notes. I'm adding in commenting soon. The show has been around for a very, very, very long time. So there's the new style URL, which you'll notice here. If I hit the website /show number, it sends me off to a canonical URL with something at the end here. But there's also old style URLs, like I think there was one that was like old database IDs kind of thing, and I put in a handler for that. Let's see if this works. No, that one's not an example. You'll see that in a second. And I wrote this in Razor Pages on ASP.NET. So if I actually pop out to PowerShell here, code is right here. There you go. And run that. That's going to pop up on localhost 5000 is insecure, and 5001 is secure because I'm developing the site under SSL. Oh, that's weird. So this is interesting here. That's supposed to be different. So let's take a look at that real quick. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm running it both under Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code at the same time, which might be dumb. And I'm wondering if they went and changed the... yeah, see, look, my launch settings changed. This here had different stuff. So let me jump out and go back over to Visual Studio Code and look at the... look at history on this thing. It was in launch settings, history. This file is not under source control. Ooh, this is interesting. Something's all gone to heck. That's fun. When I know darn well it's under source control. Good history? I always forget this. Log. What's going on here? People are watching. It's a whole thing now. Okay. This is all wrong. These were 5,000 and 5,001. Did I put those in git ignore? Scandalous. I passed those into git ignore. That was dumb. So I ignored the launch settings here, which means that they got overwritten by this stupid thing. So if I recall, it was localhost 5,000 and then secure localhost 5001. Errors on the page must be corrected. Is it commas? Now I've angered the beast. I know why. Duh. It's IIS Express. That was the issue. All right, let's try that again. That's IIS Express. That's Kestrel. Why do I think that that's okay? Well, let's find out. Oh. Stephen Baker's asking if local debug setting files are ignored. I would need to log into another group. There you go. See? I need to log. I actually had this starting on both set 5,000 and 5,001, but I like to share things and I like my ports to be tidy across all of these, but longer story. All right. Hit this on localhost. I'm on secure again. I've got a trusted local certificate. It was my mistake to check. There we go. My mistake to check in. Do not check in launch settings, as Stephen points out. It was ignored. What I actually had this, I used to have this showing up on both 5,000 and 5,001, but it doesn't really matter in this case. All right, so here's the same thing running on localhost. Okay, if I view source and go down here, you can see a couple things. First, here's some stuff that I pasted in when I logged into the Azure portal. This is my instrumentation key and my JavaScript for instrumenting the client side of this application. Okay, that's step one. Then over here in Visual Studio, I went and I said, one of these thingies. One of these options was like set up application insights or something like that. It was cool. Here it is up here. See, I'll come to that. Okay, so here we go. See, set up the SDK. Right-click, configure application insights. Okay, that's what I did. Right-click. I guess it's already configured. So I set up application insights, and that basically adds a NuGet package here, application insights, and then a connected service file with some information about that I'm going to be sending information over to Azure. Okay, and that thing listens in. That's configured in one place. I showed you here in the NuGet. That NuGet is actually right there. Now there's one for Node, there's one for ASP.NET, there's one for ASP.NET Core. Once that's plugged in, and you've got your subscriptions and stuff, You just keep running the app and doing your thing. Okay. Here's where it gets crazy and why I'm digging this. Here's my dashboard in my Azure dashboard. This is my personal Azure dashboard. I don't get like unlimited free, whatever. I do get MSDN, so I've got $150 in credit. But let's look at the app. So there is the Hansel Minutes app. It's just sitting on a small, okay? And within that, of course, I can go and see data in and data out and whatnot. And then I can click on Application Insights, and it'll talk to me about the basics of my site. Now, in this case here, it's pretty healthy, and there's nothing particularly interesting going on here. But if we go here, View and Application Insights, see how this thing just turned purple, and now we've run a new location? This is like the blade or the portal for that. I want to point out that I've got the web app here. I've pinned it, and then I've pinned the Application Insights for the web app here. So I'll click on that, go right back to it, okay? You can see that I'm blurring out my keys and my subscription IDs because you don't need to see that crap. All right, now here's the cool part. Check this out. See this thing here that was happening? Every little once in a while, I was getting a failed request. Look at that, 40 failed requests, 40 failed requests, like clockwork. Very frustrating. And you can see that my page view times, some of them are lousy, some of them are sub-second, but a lot of them are multi-second long. You can also see some of the times where I'm getting beat on. Look at that, 2,000 server requests. That's not cool. But check this out. See these failed requests? They stopped because I fixed the bug. Ooh, hang on. But I got one there. See, this is good. Let's dig into that. So I click on that. See, it says failures. Okay, now check this out. I love it. Look at that, regular. See, and I can actually click this and say, show me that time frame. So here now I'm just looking at failures in that 3-hour period. You can see there's 120 failures of 6,000 successful. Okay, and it's interesting to point out that those are head calls. That's not a get or a post. That's a head. All right. Now I can show that, in fact, by going here where it says localhost. I'll pop out to the PowerShell. I'll open another one. And I'm using a lovely little app called HTTP. You can go and Google for HTTP IE. Now, that's kind of like curl or like wget, but it's for humans. It's better. So you go HTTP get, and then say 5,000, right? And you're going to go in that. I see here it says verify failed. That's because I'm using a local certificate. So I'm going to go -verify equals no, because it's a fake cert. It's a cert that I'm using. Okay. So there I just did a get on my local site. Now, instead of a get, if I did a head, see, 200 OK. Turns out that that is happening. I'm going to go back and I'm going to shut down this here. I'm shutting off my site. Go back over here. Razor Pages does not map heads for you automatically, which is annoying. So I went and did a head to get filter to basically say when a head shows up, send a get kind of a thing. Okay. But I can go dig into here, click on any individual one of these, okay? See the operations that happened. You can see somebody's hitting /index over and over and over and over again. There's what they're hitting. That's that old handler. That's the old database ID. This is a 10-year-old URL. Yeah, Leon, it might be a problem in MVC. It is possible. That's a good thing to point out. And then here's the null reference exception. And then I can go and do this. This is what I think is so great. Look at the telemetry 5 minutes before and after the event. That's interesting. I can go and say, show me other exceptions in this operation. And then there's places where you can actually dig in and say, well, show me just this person, this client. Like identify this client and dig into all the other requests this client made. Plus you can go and say new work items. So you can say, this is a bug. I'm going to go and make a work item based on this bug. Okay. So that is interesting. So then I can go in here and like say, show me the last 12 hours or the last 48 hours. You can see exactly when I fixed the bug. And then you can see that my request count is now up and things are not as bad, which is very cool. Now this part is, I'm still learning this stuff, so bear with me here. But check this out. View in analytics, right? I could do like a failure analysis. So I can select these, say new failure analysis, and it puts me into a workbook. Look at this. Show me new and existing failures in all operations over the last 2 days within a grain of an hour, comparing over 14 days, and see an individual analysis of my stuff here. What passed, what didn't, when it, oh, look at that. When it got bad, when it didn't. Trends for exceptions. This was an interesting one, all these invalid cast exceptions. This here was an attempt for me to fix the thing, and in the process, I actually made it worse. So this is me trying to fix the null reference in blue here. Then I screwed up, put something into production, system invalid cast exception, and then I think I got it right. Although, what is that? System null. Yeah, there's more nulls. Cannot read properties. That's interesting. So these are all like little ones. Like then I got to go figure out like why these little bugs happen and stuff like that. Okay, here we go. So here's all of my look, new versus existing. So what's problem count? Users affected. Let's go and see the ones that matter the most. So here I had bad JSON serialization that affected 29 users. So I know what that bug was. This one here, back reference, that was a bad regex. That's the big one though. That's the one that's been bugging me for days. This is an interesting one here. Cookie consent. Notice this. These are server-side problems, right? This is ASP.NET. But look at this. Cookie consent undefined. That's a JavaScript thing. That's a JavaScript error. That's really important. What Application Insights does, and that's what I'm learning about here, is it puts the server-side stuff and the client-side stuff in kind of in the same place because errors are errors. Now, this one is super interesting because this is happening because somebody used a blocker or an ad blocker and blocked my cookie consent dialog, right? These are rare because not everyone has that kind of stuff. This one was interesting. Blocked a frame with origin. I was doing an iframe of the podcast player. If you go over here, there's a player here. That's coming from another location. And apparently the Opera browser on Android doesn't like that. So then I have to think about how much do I care about that one person? You know what I mean? And then you can go and save the workbook. And then look at this. Share the workbook with other people on your team. So let's say that I set up a bug. I can then work on it in this workbook, adding information and context, changing things, figuring it all out, editing the workbook. See? Each of these can be edited. Look at this. See? You can add queries. So you're literally building up a workbook of investigations. Then you share the workbook and then save it into the bug. So then other people can go and say, well, here's the investigation that I've discovered, right? So I can go and say like, hey, this is super weird, right? And I'm basically in a report, okay? Then I could go and say, well, I'm going to add a query. Let's go do a grid, a small grid, and then, write some, I don't know how to write these queries yet. Go and write some whole thing, build up a chart, et cetera, right? I need to figure out how to do these queries. It's crazy. Let me see if I can edit this one. Let me do that. Edit. Yeah, here you go. Check it out. And the other thing that's crazy is that I'm in a browser. You know what I mean? That takes a second. So check this out. Here's like this kind of SQL-ish thing. Time over range with this grain. Give me a big window. Blah 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 blah. Here's the timestamps, and then build that chart. All dynamic. So theoretically, right, if I build up my skills over time, I could go and become good at this. And then here's some examples like top custom events, right? So take that sample right there. Close that. I'm going to go and Close that. Let's go back up here. We can say like, add some new templates or some new hypothesis or some new performance thing, and then paste that stuff in. Totally insane. Totally nuts. Okay. So what was the other thing I was going to do? What was I looking at? Let me make sure I've got the right stuff here. I'm feeling like I'm looking at old code. Okay. Let me just take a look here. I don't think that's correct. I'm missing something. All right, hang on a second. This is why it's fun to do this live. I'm looking at this code here, and I'm saying to myself, that's not what I put into production at lunchtime. So remember this bug we were talking about here. Let's dig into that. Okay, this null reference. Show telemetry for this operation. That's when it happened. See, I can go and collect a debug snapshot, right? And then I could bring that. Oh, you can't see because I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. So I can actually go and say collect debug snapshots. I could say that this is an important bug and I want to go and grab it every time it happens. I think it's Google because it keeps happening in California. I don't know. But what I want is that URL. Okay. There it is. This old show ID. We're back out here. HTTP head. That's a 302 at Cloudflare. Cloudflare is what I'm doing for CDN. Turn that off temporarily. Yeah, see it says server Cloudflare. Take a second for that to go away. So I'm suspicious that something has changed. I screwed up something. Or I never checked it in. What is going on here? All right, I'm switching over to another machine here. Hang on. My vision for this wonderful live broadcast has gone to hell. Oh, for God's sake. Your branch is ahead. Of course it is. I never pushed from this machine. Let's watch my site go down right now as we sit here. Yeah, there we go. This is bad. There we go. Okay, so I just pushed from the machine I was working on at lunchtime. Let's go up here. By the way, you can see my amazing log data here in Git. I'm so good. Mostly it's like, crap, shoot, that sucks. What the hell? All right, see? We're in branch. All right, let's bring this down and figure out what's going on here. That's what I wanted. See this? All right, cool. Let's go back over to our start. So what are you mad about? All right. 5001. All right, cool. See this handler here? I want to go HTTP head localhost 5001 / old handler. Again, verify equals no. I'll fail. Now, this is interesting because I'm doing this locally. 302, there you go. It did work. Go. But it's showing me that that's moved permanently from its old location at this weird show ID. Okay. Now, check this out. I'm going to go back up to the cloud. I want to point out I'm doing this locally. Okay. All this work is happening on localhost. Okay. Look at this here, though. Remember I told you I was running this on one small? I'm going to click on live stream. So this is a live view of what's happening on my site. Go ahead and, if you want, go ahead and hit my blog. People who are watching, not my blog rather, hit hanselminutes.com. That a couple times. Okay. See, this is y'all hitting my site. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Incoming requests. See, there's y'all. There's me, and there's you guys. Now, see this here. 2 servers online. Remember I told you I was running this on one small? Look, that's you all. That's me. So Application Insights can have your development stuff, your development server show up as well. So I could actually collect and see the information that's happening about local calls if I want to. Now I can go and filter it and change things if I want to. I'm actually going to pin that, see? Live stream. So I can go back over here. See, it says live stream. Looks like I already had it twice right there. So I click on that and I can see live metrics. And then again, open those up into analytics and then run queries on live stuff. The gentleman is asking, or Radium is asking, what HTTP is. It's a Python thing called HTTP IE you can install. It's not a PowerShell thing, but it basically lets you make calls like friendly. So here I just said HTTP, head or HTTP get or whatever. If I was going to go and call for some JSON, it would like color the JSON and make it very pleasant looking. So it's really nice. Okay, so check this out. So look, incoming request. This is you all doing live stuff right now. See? So I can go and look at that point. So now I just clicked on that. Look at that data point. So you're this data point here. There you go. So then they're looking at that query. highlight the area, and then say, okay, let's go and run it on that particular thing. It's crazy. So I could say run. So rates per second, what happened here? Right? When I said, hey, everybody, go and click on that. So then I can go and figure out page views, and this is all the query section. You can build these queries and then save the queries and share them. I prefer to kind of stay over here, but I wanted to point that out. Now, if I go back over into this part of App Insights, see, look at this. This is crazy. Smart detections. This happened yesterday, and I got emailed. I thought this was super interesting. Slow browser page load for clients in Bangladesh. So I actually got an email from App Insights that said people in Bangladesh were having a lousy experience because it was loading 18 seconds for them and 4 seconds for me. That's interesting. Like, I want to know stuff like that, right? Indians and Bangladeshis were having the same issue. So then I went and I added Cloudflare. Question here on the chat, is it stored in a database on your VM or it's an Azure service? It's entirely an Azure service. So if we go to App Insights Pricing Azure, I think I'm still on the free one. 2 pricing options, basic and enterprise. You pay based on the volume of telemetry with a gig per month. So I'm paying for nothing really because I've not sent a gig, right? So like I'm in West US 2 and it's free and it's a gig a month of telemetry data. Okay, so that's not data coming to my website, that's telemetry data. It stores 90 days of it, okay? And then it's $2 a gig if I decide to pay, for more. So that's pretty sweet. I'm not even thinking about it. It's not even an issue for me from a pricing perspective. I'm just using the free stuff. Okay. So then I can go here and say, okay, well, show me the slow page loads that happened. So now look at this. There's a time from about 11 p.m. till about 2, 3 a.m. when everyone in Bangladesh was having a bad experience. There's 45 bad page views all on the latest show. So I can go figure out, well, okay, what's going on? Why is that happening? Well, let's look at the client side. Let's look at the browser page load. Look at this. This person here took 30 seconds, right? Why did that happen? Why did somebody have 30 freaking seconds on my site? Well, a couple of things. There were regular exceptions around that time, so it could have been my fault on the server side. Those exceptions have common properties. This is that San Jose thing I was telling you about, right? Let's look at other. Here you go. I told you Chrome Mobile was an issue, right? So I can go and dig into each one of those things and then figure out each one of them is a separate issue I need to deal with, right? Now, let's check this out. Come back over here. That was just smart detection. I'm going to go to App Map. This thing is crazy because it's both client side and server side, all right? So I'm going to close this part up and we'll go let me zoom out a little bit. That's too far. Okay, that's the web app. 1.8 million requests. Doing pretty good. This is the client. That's the browser. Okay. 32 errors there. We're going to dig into that at some point. Then Ajax calls that browser makes to other places like Google Analytics, but also dependencies. Now, I don't have a database. I call a web API. But if you had a database or multiple databases or multiple web APIs, it actually instruments those. So you can see that I do very aggressive caching. So I've only called this API 18 times. Okay. And those have never failed. So I'm not having any issues there. By the way, they've got this cool preview map they're working on. I'm not quite sure what I think about it. It's kind of silly. I kind of prefer the classic map. Okay. Let's click on the client side. Yeah. John is pointing out in the chat here that how detailed it is. It's nuts. and I can't even get my head around it. Like there's so much here. So I can click on this, then dig into analytics, and now it's going to go and build a chart of all the browser stuff that was going on and my page view count over time, and then I can go and dig into it. Okay. But what I wanted to see, there's no errors. There's no real errors here. Where's the better one? Failures? Dependencies? Because the errors were a couple days ago. I want the client-side errors. Those were perf related. Yes, look at this here. You see this one? Somebody's trying to hack me, goofing around here. That's not cool at all. Ooh, enable profiler. What's that? Profiler will run randomly 2 minutes per hour. Ooh. Click add linked apps to link app services and associated slots. Okay, so, profiler agent, instrumentation key missing. Okay. Profiler disabled. Okay. Select an app. That's my staging site. I have another staging site. Enable profiler. Ooh. Profiler will run randomly 2 minutes per hour. Ooh, this is going to be cool. I didn't know that was a thing. This is crazy. All right, so that's cool. So that means I'm going to have even like detailed samples and stuff on what's going on with this stuff. That's sweet. Okay. Back on the app map. Yeah. So my availability, by the way, is 100% right now because I set up these tests. Here's my test. This test is not very sophisticated. I just called it site is up. Okay. And I said, pick 5 locations. Actually, I should change that. See this here? I picked 5 locations to run the test from, and I picked them in the US. But that's not really useful because I don't really care. I want it to be worldwide. And a couple of days ago when I was having trouble, I was not having 100% uptime, but now I am. Let's go ahead and edit the test. See these 5 locations configured? Right? Let's do West US, West Europe, Brazil. There you go. 4 locations. Let me get another one. We'll do south of France, whatever. Okay, so that's a little more distributed than before. Okay. There we go. So it's doing tests. And you can see every once in a while there's like a moment like this. Yeah, so John is saying it's an App Insights NuGet package, a key, and a little client.js. That's exactly right. And in Visual Studio proper, you can say add App Insights. And it's like, I literally right-clicked. Here we go, see? You basically, blah, blah, blah. They right-click and you say add telemetry. That's all. And then you make sure that you click the free one. Okay. All right. These outliers are my cache failing and then loading up the database again. But most everything is pretty cool. So this is good. Here we go. See? So here's my new location. So I'm going to go and do locations of that. All that's free as well, right? These availability tests. And then it'll text me or email me if there's a problem. So I've got availability. I've got the number of users that have been using the site. I've got my 2 servers, one local, one not. Now this is one I haven't figured out yet. This new retention tool. This is like, do people come back? Right? Are people going to visit my site, go to a page view, then return to a page view? But I could be even more specific, right? I could say, are people going to like the archives page and then coming back to the home page, or are they listening to a show and then doing something else? Oops. Let's try that again. Now, I've only been doing it for a week, so apparently I have no retention, but I'm hoping to come back in a month or so and figure this out, right? So you can see I just put this thing together like 4 days ago. So you can see top events. Ooh, this is interesting. So initiating event, my current episode. Returned event, okay, same episode. It'll be interesting. Oh, archives. So then I'll be able to see like people come back in less than a week, or they come back in more than 4 weeks. I'll be able to figure out how often people come back and when. So that'll be kind of hot. Okay. I also wanted to point out that I've got a staging site. So if you go down here to deployment slots, this is all free, right? Once I pay, the only thing I'm paying for here is the small app service. I made a staging site. See, it stopped. I'm going to turn it on. While that's happening, I'll come back out here and I'll say get remote show. You see I have one is origin and one staging. Get push staging. Okay, this is me pushing to Azure. Now this is all local, okay? But watch what happens when it hits the Azure side. It'll say remote : and then we'll hear from that side. And that'll show up here. See? There you go. Updating branch, running deployment command. This is a good question. Can you use it if not hosting on Azure? Yes, I believe you can. So App Insights, Azure, other hosts. I know you can because you're sending well, yes and no. Let me think about that. I think you can, actually. App Insights hosting elsewhere. I'm pretty sure you can. Here you go. If your apps are hosted on premises, install Status Monitor. Hosted on an IIS server. So you can do it on IIS, and then you run this Status Monitor installer, and that picks this telemetry up and like throws it up somewhere, right? And it's worth going back here to remind you, if we click on, let's go back to our main page, Application Insights. I only have one server, but see it says 2 servers? I'm running it on local host down here, down there, see? And it's sending telemetry. That's the name of my computer I'm on, Son of Hex Power. That's the Azure one. So you could theoretically hook up App Insights and run it, at your office. Now I'm all in the browser here, right? I'm sitting in Chrome, which is fine. It's interesting. Has this staging happened yet? Staging's still going. I'll show you staging in a second. But check this out. I figured this out earlier today. So I'm inside of Visual Studio. This is Community Edition. And I right-clicked and I picked a toolbar here, Application Insights. This is the same code. I just opened it here instead of VS Code. See this here? Okay. Explore telemetry trends. So this is inside Visual Studio. So it's talking to the web portal, except it's doing it in the Visual Studio thing. Okay. So close this up. It's talking to the server. Check this out. This was very helpful to me earlier. What about ASP.NET Core? Yeah, this is ASP.NET Core. You're looking at ASP.NET Core. It's using a little package, and it's like thinking in the background. So check this out. That was a search. See, look, count of server requests in that time bucket. So what's going on there? There was a failure there. So let's show the failure, right? Then can I go and dig into that failure and figure out what's going on? I can filter it. And as I click on it, you see it's gone and saying, show me things between this half an hour period that lasted this long, that gave me a 500 or not, and then how did it go, right? Then I can go and say analyze, right? And it's going to go and think about all that stuff. Then I can see, well, which machines did it happen on? Remember I told you I was working on my desktop, that's my laptop, and that's my Azure machine. Okay, so this is my laptop earlier today. See? Then I can go and dig into that. Okay, this is crazy. This is me on my laptop earlier today at a cafe. I was actually tethered on my cell phone. So the telemetry data was just trickling out over the cell phone data. But all the work, though, was localhost. Okay, so here's me making calls on localhost to test this old handler. You can see my environment variable properties, the name of the computer, the name of the SDK I was using. And then check this out. Show telemetry before and after this event. So show me stuff that's like in the general area around both sides of this thing. Okay, so this is me 5 minutes plus or minus of the thing. Then I can go and say, well, just show me the dependency calls. See, there's me calling out to get my JSON. That's a dependency call. That's me making a web client call. Or show me just page views, or just show me whatever's. And then, yep, see, there's the page views. Ooh, look at this. Hang on, let's back up. Reset. Show me. They got country. People from Adelaide on mobile Safari. Nobody? Let's show me from people from Adelaide. That's nuts. So somebody subscribed to my archives from Adelaide and then on Chrome mobile visited this page view. That's hot. There, Australia, on a Samsung Android. You see this here? Parent ID. What they do is they give the operation an ID. This way, I can't tell you anything about this person. I can't tell you. It's all private, right? We don't want to collect personal information about people. Okay. But I can go looking for, I can go looking for that particular thing and say, show me the filter of that operation, and then dig into that individual. Now, this right here is all the server requests in 24 hours, 302s, 200s, and 304s, all the way down to just 500s. And then there's one client side. This one was annoying. I think I talked to you about this one. This was a 400 on the client side, and they were posting here. I don't know why. This was someone in Cambodia posting. I don't have a post. I have no form, right? So what are you doing posting to my site here? See, then I can go and say track the operation and dig into it and follow that operation. But I don't know what this person was doing. They were doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing, being naughty. Server requests, dependency calls, which again are rare. And what did this one fail here? We had a failure. Dot post J. This is a script kiddie. Somebody's goofing around here. It's so interesting, and it's just so deep. You can just go on and on and on. Look at this. Highlight anomalies. Look, here's an anomaly. And then you hover over it. This one is different than the expected value of 2%. So this one went too far. So show me bad perf and why that's a problem. And then portal, of course, just launches the portal. I'm still learning about this tool, but I'm absolutely blown away by what you can do. And this is just the free version. So I need to figure out, let me make sure I got rid of my bug, by the way. See, this is where I deployed it. Let's see if I got any bugs here. What's that one? Got two 500s. Who is this person? That was a bad JSON serializer. See, look at this. This is so cool. See, view as timeline. If you have complicated dependencies, it can be a whole thing. Then I can go and say, well, just show me that session as a timeline. Again, these are unique IDs. They're not people. Well, they're people, but look, check this out. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. And like only 34 of you have made it this far into the video, but this is so cool. So here's somebody visiting the site, had a bad experience. They keep hitting refresh. This must be one of y'all being jerky and just going refresh, right? I wonder what's going on here. It's like forensics, you know? Oh, is this localhost? Oh, crap. That's me. Joey's like, Scott thinks he found a bad guy. It's you idiot. It's me hitting refresh. Excellent. Anyway, I'm gushing about this tool. Let's do this. Let's go last 30 minutes because you all were messing around in the last 30 minutes, right? There you go. Yeah. Refresh. Count failed. Oh, all those are failures. Let's see success. Have my pages been slow? Yeah, that was slow. Has page traffic changed? Yep, that's you all hitting that. When are script errors occurring? Cannot read properties. Uncaught security. I mean, good gracious, you all. Look at this. It's so good. Now, how can I look at y'all? I want to find one of you and call you out. Okay, 11:18. Here's somebody. This was 3 minutes ago. Okay. Now, there's something about IP addresses that's hidden. Let's go and look at the user. I don't know if it's personal information or what, but IP addresses, I've always had them be 0. So let's look at the timeline. It's also worth pointing out that look how nice the portal is lately. Like it's so much better. I've been whipping around in the portal and not even sweating it. Oh, look at that. Someone who on the call is in Campinas, Brazil. Anyone there? Say hello in the chat. You said hello and you visited my site and I appreciate you. Check it out and look what you did. Look at that. See, you hit the site once. That's so freaking cool. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Available telemetry for this user session. Let's try somebody else. Who is this? Look at this. Somebody trying to log into WordPress. This is not a WordPress site, you jerk. Who did that? Someone from Thane, India. So cool. That's hilarious. Let's see who this is. Who is this person? Amsterdam. Hit the site twice. San Jose. Anyway, I'm loving this thing. It's amazing. It is so fun, and I can't even stand it. And it took. Oh, so that's an interesting thing. So Leon is saying, can those attacks be detected and added to a list, a block list? Yes and no. So there is this thing here called Security Center that I don't want to pay for, and it can go up in here and catch these kinds of things and then do recommendations. See, but I haven't turned on advanced threat detection yet. I wonder how much that would cost. Yeah, I don't really want to pay you. Sorry. But I can go in here and see like recommendations. So I can like turn on data encryption on my SQL servers and stuff like that. So there's a whole thing. But yeah, Stephen Baker here saying the team collaboration and diagnostic tools here are fantastic. It's worth pointing out that I'm able to do this kind of stuff just as one person. It is an important site. It's important to me. But the fact there you go, see? The fact that I can get emails, I could potentially share one of these. I could set up a partner or a helper. I could be like currently actively looking for a bug, and I could say, well, I want a log search alert. I want to search the logs, find a certain target criteria, and if you see it happen, call me. So cool. And again, 90 days retention. I'm very, very, very happy with this. I'm like gushing with fandom. What's going on here? See, like I'm also not very focused because I'm like 30 seconds. Why did this take 30 seconds? Oh yeah, that was me, localhost. I need to filter out localhost. Metrics Explorer, what's that? Click the edit button to configure this chart. Ooh. Performance counters. Oh, I see. Look at that. Oh, I can pick anything I want. Page views. Oh, look at that. And I can make my own thing, and then I can pin the graph. Ew. Where's the process CPU? Processor time? Why am I not seeing those? Memory? Oh, speaking of memory, that was another thing as I close up here. If you go over to the app, I was doing some really, really, really aggressive caching, too aggressive. And I got a warning that I ran out of memory, which was interesting. And I came out here to App Service Advisor, which was super interesting. And this thing basically looked at the app and made analysis about what it thought it could do. Yep, see? Your app is currently unhealthy, right? And I can go and opt out or not of that stuff. And one of them, there it is, memory resource exhaustion. I was basically caching too much and I filled up my cache. And I hit 85% of like a gig or whatever. And then you can go and click and look at the number of apps per app service, which is basically a way of saying how many web servers are running on that that instance. You can see I have staging running. See how staging is using up memory? I'll go turn off staging. But yeah, actually I should turn off staging. I forget. Staging. I did not turn on, there we go. I didn't turn on App Insights for that. Oh, and the other thing that's cool, of course, is I can come out to a shell and I can do a lot of this work in Bash and stuff like that. So yeah, so Rob Karen just showed up in the chat. Hello, Rob. Rob and I produce Azure Friday, which is a show called friday.azure.com. And we need to turn on App Insights because it's amazing. So Radium is sending, can you do App Insights for PHP? App Insights, PHP SDK? There you go. Someone did that already. PHP module allows you to send telemetry of various kinds to the App Insights service. That's cool. Yeah, there's App Insights for all kinds of stuff. I'm just looking at it for .NET, but certainly knock yourself out. Do whatever you want. It's crazy. Cool. All right. So that is a non-trivial amount of time of me gushing about App Insights. And again, just as I said at the beginning, there we go. There's no way that I can have the monitor on and not come out a ridiculous orange color. So I apologize. Thanks for hanging out with me. You're all wonderful people. And I would please, by the way, encourage you to listen to my podcast. I think it's a really good show. Everything that I've been showing you for the last hour is for my podcast site. It's something I do on my own. It's not owned by anyone but me, and it's not part of my day job. And it's a really good show. You go to hanselminutes.com, check out the archives, and scroll through. I've done 600 plus episodes, and I would encourage you to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher. And I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.